Yes, I have decided to actually take part in the second round of the Sisteralong. As I said in my first video for the Sisteralong, I wasn't sure that I would continue, but this is supposed to be a better book than the first book, so I'm excited about seeing how this is turning out. And it's going to be LGBTQIAP+. Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert is the second book out for February. Let's get going!
Here's a reminder to like the video, subscribe to the channel and press that little bell icon so that you don't miss out on any videos. Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert this morning. I am glad that I actually picked this up and decided to read the second book in the Sisteralong. People told me that this book would be better than the first book, and I will have to agree. I actually liked this a lot better. I'm still not quite sold on the romance genre, and I think some of the reason for that is that there is often a lot of spice. There is a lot of spice in this book, but for me personally, all the spice doesn't really add to the story. It's not that I mind the spy per se, but for me it doesn't really add anything to the story, and if it doesn't add to the story, it doesn't really have any purpose in my opinion. I totally understand that there are people who love these spies and it's a big reason for them to read it, and I'm all good with that. It's just a personal preference. That being said, I think there are a lot of good stuff with this book. One of the things that I find kind of refreshing actually is that the main character, Dani, she is bi and she falls for a cis man. Honestly, that is not a lot of times in books you see that happening. I love the fact that they never say anything about her not being bi. It's very on page that she is bi and she falls for a man. As a reader, you kind of understand it fairly quickly that she has a crush on the other main character in this book. So I love seeing that. Your relationship does not define your identity. Being a am-spec person myself in a straight passing relationship, as they call it, it's always... I can't say always because I've hardly ever read it, but it is nice to see that you can actually have an on-page bi character and she's with a man. This book also deals with a lot of other things. For example, it deals a lot with mental health. You also see the male character dealing with anxiety and other things, and I just love seeing that he's a vulnerable man, and there can actually be men dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and I think that is so important. Dani herself also have her issues. For sure, it is good that they are dealt with in a book in a very good way, in a sensible way, in a logical way, and these issues are treated in a very nice way, I think. People of color, which I like, and LGBTQ+ as well, and of course Dani's sister is disabled, which we know if you've read the first book, though it's not talked a lot about in this book, but we know that. Another thing is that you can actually read this book without having read the first book. There are things you kind of know and understand more if you read the first book, but it works perfectly well on its own. I am very curious about book number 3 because I have decided that now that I've read the 2 first books, I can't just like stop doing the sister along. I have to continue. I have to read the 3rd and last book in the trilogy. So that will be interesting and see what I think about that. Will it sell me over to the romance side? I'm highly doubt it, but reading outside of my comfort zone is probably not a bad thing. I think, if nothing else, it makes me appreciate the books that I love even more. So that's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please remember to subscribe and leave a comment and all that jazz. If you read the book, I would love to hear in the comments if you read it. Have you read any of the other books in this trilogy? And do you read romance at all? What do you read? Have you read any really good romance that you think I should read? If so, let me know in the comments. And I guess that's it. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!